Good evening, this is Zambia Today. Tonight, a sharp warning from Professor Proud Munga about the future of Zambian politics. Speaking from the United States, the academic says the ruling party has lost public confidence and a new movement is forming. His analysis, grounded in concerns about tribalism, governance, and the economy, has sparked debate across Zambia. Across cities and towns, citizens are listening closely as the 2026 election looms. Professor Munga, a Zambian academic based at the University of Michigan, has published a sharply worded opinion piece. He lists three central complaints: tribalism, the shrinking of democratic space, and economic mismanagement. We examine each claim in turn and the response from political leaders and civil society. First, allegations of tribal bias in appointments in public life. Next, arrests and limits on dissent. Then, the economic picture facing ordinary Zambians. Munga argues the current administration is the most tribally biased in post-independence Zambia. He points to what he calls disproportionate appointments favoring the Tonga community. Munga says this has eroded trust and created resentment among other communities. He further accuses the government of weaponizing state institutions to suppress dissent. Munga cites arrests and intimidation of opposition figures and activists as examples. He warns this trend threatens democratic norms and the independence of institutions. On the economy, Munga lists three failings: rising unemployment, rising inflation, and a weakening kwacha, signs, he says, of poor fiscal management. Despite international support and debt deals, Munga argues ordinary Zambians have seen little improvement. He frames this as a disconnect between government rhetoric and people's daily realities. In response, Munga calls for a new coalition, the People's Presidential Movement. He envisions a united opposition and civil society under a single presidential candidate. Munga names veteran activist Brebner Changala as a potential standard-bearer, praising his integrity. He calls for a transparent, inclusive selection, no tribal stain, and no corruption. The plan seeks to unite opposition parties and civil groups around a single candidate. Analysts warn success depends on grassroots mobilization and a clear policy platform. Munga highlights youth and urban voters as crucial to any united movement. He stresses the need for concrete policies on economy, education, health, and governance, not just critique. Next, reactions from the UPND and civil society and calls for institutional reform. UPND supporters dismiss Munga's claims as politically motivated, saying the critique is unfounded. But the critique has resonated with some who feel marginalized and demand accountability. Munga urges depoliticizing the judiciary and police to protect rule of law. He also calls for ECZ reform to ensure transparent and credible elections. Munga stresses the role of independent media and civic education to inform voters. Voter engagement and civic participation will shape the 2026 outcome. As the campaign period begins, the stakes are high for Zambia's democratic future. Stay informed, vote with knowledge, hold leaders to account. From Zambia Today, I'm Anchor Name. Thanks for watching.